Welcome back to the roller derby city track here at the Men's World Cup in Barcelona. I'm joined by the fantastic Snuggins as we wanted to take a little bit of a look back at the last two games that we've seen across the M14 industry tracks and here at roller derby city. And I was running between the two tracks for the last hour, trying to catch bits of both, but you've been really intently watching what we saw take place on the roller derby city track.
Yes, I was quite frankly riveted to the spot watching Canada v France. I know that we didn't make any formal out loud predictions because let's not. But going into it, I've talked a lot this weekend about how France look phenomenal. They've played with such precision. They look so incredibly well drilled. I had a feeling that there could be an upset today. And within a handful of jams, I was like, I think I know how this is going to end. There was a lot of back and forth during the first half.
There was.
A couple of lead changes, but France just shut it down.
And Canada were quite heavy on the penalties.
Yes.
Gave away quite a lot of power jams as well, didn't they? And I mean, the opportunity was certainly taken. I mean, some of those highlights. So there's Rocket picking up lead for France. Snarly Quinn.
Beautiful little bit of offense there, clearing that final blocker for Kerr.
I also think we might have seen one of the most stylish call-offs during this game, quite near the end of the first half, about 39 minutes in, a to-the-floor call-off. There were so many highlights in that game, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching that. And then I ran over to the Australia track to see Argentina-Australia, which finished with Australia 291, Argentina 111, their first loss of the World Cup so far. And Australia looking incredibly tight sausage rolls, as you'd expect, performing incredibly well. We saw a better Australia playing Argentina than we saw playing Scotland earlier today, in my opinion. And also, I'm not entirely sure, but a little part of me thinks that the shadow bench might have an earpiece back to the box, which I've checked, and that's completely within the rules.
Under MRDA rule set, that kind of equipment, so earpieces for communication between shadow benches and the core bench crew, perfectly legal.
Yeah, I mean, I can't confirm that. It was just something that I saw. It looks like they might be. There's some good communication going on there somehow.
It didn't look like... we're all well familiar with bench crews yelling, gesticulating. There wasn't a lot of that coming out of Australia's bench. However, everything seemed pinpoint precise and happening as and when it should. So you've got to wonder if there's something additional at play with the communication.
And we can't really talk about Argentina without talking about Pibe. Phenomenal as always, scoring passes that involved kind of just getting lower than the kneecaps of opposing blockers.
It's kind of his thing.
It is.
Pibe, of course, very small in stature, incredibly well known throughout the Derbyverse. Has been playing the same game he plays all the time, but with a lot of the teams, it's tighter, it's finer, it's tidier. And you mentioning previously that obviously this was Argentina's first loss. If we look at this, you know I like the big story, the saga, so to speak. If we look at 4 years ago, March 2014, Birmingham, England, when Argentina came with a crew of 8 skaters.
Yeah, it's a very different team. They've been on a journey, and I think what we're seeing as well, some of the teams that are turning up for the first time to a roller derby World Cup. I look forward to seeing this being the start of their journey over the next, 4-6 years as they grow. Denmark as they get stronger, Colombia as they get stronger as well. So coming up very shortly, we're going to have the second round of quarter-final games. You're going to see on the roller derby city track, in fact, just behind us warming up right now, we're going to see USA taking up Wales, Wales warming up on the track. Interestingly, Team USA will be playing with 14 players.
Yes.
Yesterday, it was deemed that Henson had intentional illegal contact. during the Japan game and received a 2-game suspension.
Yes.
That means, as a result, that they have to play with 14. And that's all there is really to say on that one.
Indeed.
And then on the M14 Industries track, we're going to see Mexico, England. I'm really looking forward to see how Mexico responds to some of England's offense-defense switching.
Yes. England, again, have been on form this weekend. We can see the progression. And interestingly, seeing those newer skaters that are coming through, it's not just the standard England skaters that we've seen previously. A lot of new faces.
Well, I mean, we were only talking about Charlie Scraplin earlier on.
Yes.
He was playing rookie games 2.5 years ago, and he's now playing his first Men's World Cup.
Second. He skated for Germany
Of
in
course,
2016.
he skated for Germany, but he was so new then.
He was. He was a semi-rotational blocker. I think he jammed maybe 4 or 5 times at that World Cup. Pivoted a little. Definitely, while still key to the success that Germany had that World Cup, definitely not as integral as he has been to England's campaign this year. But of the newer faces, technically Charlie Scraplin, Sparky, Hines, all of them having such an impact on the tournament that England are having. It's incredibly interesting to see how they will face off against what I can only describe as the incredibly fast Mexico. I feel England have been a bit more technical this time round, really good at holding. I mean, we saw with Sweden, not a lot of our jams got out past turn 1 or turn 2. Mexico can run it. They ran Poland ragged yesterday.
They've got the stamina too.
Yeah.
But I think that England may have prepared themselves for a little bit of that. So looking ahead, as you might have seen, we've now got the full games for today, the next 2 quarterfinals we just alluded to. At the end of the day, we'll see Denmark face off Poland on the Roller Derby City track at 7 o'clock local time, and then the Philippines versus Colombia on the M14 Industries track. Tomorrow's games include Italy, Japan, Sweden, Netherlands, Scotland, Spain, as well as New Zealand, Chile, Ireland, Germany, and Belgium, Finland. Some great matchups. So stay tuned, don't go anywhere. Remember, at the end of the day, Sniggins and I, joined by King and Troncha, will bring you the official review looking back at the highlights of the Men's World Cup so far.